so you're the owner of Three Lights Design. So there's the three there. Can you talk a little bit about what Three Lights Design is, what the three lights are, and why you started it?
Yeah. So Three Lights Design is an architectural design company. Principally, we do residential remodels, although we've done a few retreat centers and some commercial spaces of that sort. But essentially, the reason it's called Three Lights Design is because, again, I love trinities because I think that there's just some magic to the number three. And one of the ways of understanding, from my perspective, a good design is that it consists of three different components. On the first level is that there is the physical component of the design. The way the design is intersecting the manifest realm. It's all the things that we can see and we can touch and be very cognizant of. The next level up is what we would call basically the energetic level of design. Like in Buddhism, they would call this the Nirmanakaya. This is the kind of the phenomenal world. This level is what we call the Sambhogakaya, which is the energetic world. And one way of thinking of that is, for example, you've probably all heard of this practice of feng shui. Feng shui means wind and water. And the idea is that you can't see the wind, but you can see its effect on the water. So you're seeing the energetics of the way that the effects of that wind, create patterns on the water. So that's a kind of an easy way to start to think about, again, what we're bringing to these things emotionally, what our intentions are, that do start to affect the design, and not only just the design, but the people who are doing the work together. Okay. And then finally, at the ineffable level, we have what's called the Dharmakaya, which is really sort of beyond thought. It's the unknowable. It's the mystery that's there. Just because it's unknowable doesn't mean that it isn't playing itself out in its own way, but it's kind of it's the ground from which everything arises. So by having a sense of this in terms of design, when you look at it, it's like the world, the Nirmanakaya world is really about form. It's the things that you can see and touch. It's the beauty. It's the unitive aspect. It's the textures. So that's that level there. You go up to the Sambhogakaya level, that starts to be the function, right? How do people move around that space? And how is the project itself aiding in the inhabitants and doing what they do better, so that they can, again, feel that sense of contribution. And then again, when you get to the Dharmakaya level, this is really about intention and intention setting. Like, what are the beliefs and values of the people that are inhabiting that space? And as a designer, this is something that I need to know, right? This is something that I do. I take people through 2-hour interviews at the, it's mandatory at the beginning of a project, because in order for me to be a team member, a designer with them, I need to understand where they're coming from. And so that starts to give you a sense of that again, Three Lights Design is predicated on these different levels that need to be engaged. And I would say in conventional design, we do hit on form, we do think about function, but very few think about the intention. And not only the intention that's being expressed, like, this is what I value family, or I value creativity, or I value innovation. It's the deeper intention is really just feeling the cohesiveness of the group that comes together to realize the project, so that people, when they're working together cooperatively and collaboratively, are growing through their relationships with one another. And I think that's another key component of looking at this through the Buddhist lens. Like, the word that they use in Buddhism is emptiness, meaning that nothing is, everything is empty of conceptual fabrication, right? Nothing actually exists by itself. You can never just take the table and set it, this computer as separate from objects with no connection to it. That emptiness quality is really code word for interdependence, that everything is always already connected. And so we can't afford to work from a place of an isolated individual or an isolated designer and the client over there, and the contractor over there, and the municipality over here. And these are all things that I have to manage, and get on the same page. It's more so creating an environment of collaboration where you're building trust amongst all the members so that you actually can enter into constructive conflict, when you're trying to figure something out. But ultimately that brings the project to a different level where people feel more engaged, and it really brings out a sense of, ultimately, the goal is healing and stewardship, so that people on the job feel more whole. And, the way in which we're interacting with the neighborhoods and the houses there and the land itself also is contributing to people feeling more whole and connected.